All right, let's kick things off here. I know there are still some people coming in, but like I said, welcome to the uplink today. Appreciate you guys. I know we moved the time a little bit here, so thanks for still showing up. I'm Jacob Swin. I'm the product marketing manager at Helium, and I'm here with the team from DataGovs today. And as the name implies, we're going to talk some data, specifically how they empower individuals and organizations to own their data. So I'm going to let them tell their story, but first I'm going to do a little intro into Helium in case you aren't familiar. Whoops. So just about Helium, we were founded in 2013 by Amir Halim and Sean Fanning with a mission to make it easier to build decentralized wireless networks. And to that end, we've built the world's largest decentralized wireless network, and it's still growing very quickly. So that's awesome. And we've been able to do that by being backed by some of the best VC firms in the world. So we're extremely thankful to them. You can see some of the names here: Khosla Ventures, FirstMark, GV, formerly Google Ventures, Mark Benioff. Lots of different people have helped out. So really appreciative to them. Like I said, the growth of the network, this has been incredible, unprecedented. I got to think up some better adjectives now. I use those every time, but we're at, as I checked this morning, 542,000 plus hotspots. We hit 500,000 not that long ago, and we're already closing in on 550,000. So amazing to see the growth. Hotspots showing up all over the world in over 41,000 cities in 163 countries. So closing in on, I believe, someone can fact check me, 195 countries in the world total, if my geography skills aren't lacking there. But we're closing in on being in every country in the world. So really exciting to see that. In case you aren't familiar with some of like the major benefits of the Helium network, there are many, but some of the major ones are low cost of data transfer. So our standard example is around $1 per year is the cost for a device sending data every 5 minutes. I'm supposed to say for a device. I have a typo there. Also, it's really easy to get going on the Helium network, which is a huge benefit. It's accessible. It's easy to use with any compatible off-the-shelf LoRaWAN device. You can just pick it up, get going, hook it up in console, and start transferring data. So really cool. We also, because we're open source, there's increasing access to lots of different open source projects, open source protocols, and you can avoid things like vendor lock-in and stuff like that. So that makes it really nice and accessible for people to start using. And then again, with the cost, you only pay based on usage with Helium. There aren't any contracts. It's not a subscription model. When you send data, you pay, otherwise you don't. So makes it much easier to get going. A couple big milestones that we hit in 2021 and some things we're looking forward to in 2022. Like I said, the growth, when 2021 started, we were at about 14,000 hotspots, and we hit over 400,000 by the end of 2021. So I'm not a math major, but that's a huge percentage of growth right there. So amazing to see, and amazing to see it keep growing too. And to that end, we've added a lot of different users to our ecosystem. Those partners, those Helium users, are providing a ton of different really innovative solutions. We've got everything from all types of asset tracking, air quality monitoring, smart mailboxes, drone delivery, so many different things. If you want to check out more about that, just go to our website and check out Helium ecosystem, and you can read about that. We also launched staking validators in June of 2021. As the network continues to grow, those become even more important. City of San Jose in September was the first city to officially partner with the Helium network. If you aren't familiar with their use case, they're deploying Helium hotspots and using the earnings from those hotspots to help provide internet access to low-income families. So really neat to see a tangible way that Helium is helping people out with that use case, as well as building out the network. Helium 5G is coming. We partnered with Dish and Freedom Fi. And so that was a major announcement in 2021 and a huge milestone coming up in 2022 as well. In addition to that, looking forward to light hotspots launching, adding more roaming partners. We announced Extelia last week. We have Actility and Senate already announced, and looking forward to more of those. just one major initiative we're kind of looking at is as 3G networks, as cellular 3G networks begin to sunset, if they haven't already, it might be a good time if you're using 3G for IoT to consider switching to Helium. You can read more about that on the Helium blog or just on our page, helium.com/switch. And like I said, Helium 5G. Some very recent announcements. Sorry, I can't talk. DataGovs, they're here with me today, but we just announced them as a network partner, a network user. So excited to hear what they have to say. Door, we had an uplink the other day with Door. You can check that episode out. It's up on YouTube. Like I said, we announced Extelia as a roaming partner. And then again, we hit 500,000 hotspots on the network. So really big stuff happening and really excited to see where this goes. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Greg, Eileen, and Goma from DataGovs, and they're going to talk a little more about what the company is doing. So Greg, I will stop sharing and you're up.
Thank you, Jacob. So let me share my screen really quickly to the audience that's here. All right, you all should be able to see my screen right now. So, hey everybody, my name is Gregory Johnson, and I'm one of the co-founders of DataGovs. If you don't know what DataGovs is on the mission of digitizing the world's physical operations, and we help organizations and people leverage internet-connected sensors and machine learning to monitor their assets in real time on their dashboard or on their phone. We can connect to any internet-connected device, any sensor type, across any protocol, and we help organizations take all this data and turn it into key metrics in safety, efficiency, sustainability, compliance. Today we're here and excited to talk a little bit about what we're working on, because through our software and through our company, we've built a connector in partnership with Helium that is letting anybody that has a Helium miner participate in being a part of owning their data for their city and sharing their data, specifically using sensory data to help with sustainability initiatives. How that works is we're going to walk into it, but I'm really excited to share a little bit about why we're excited about our initiative. So again, we're here to digitize the world's physical operations. If you guys haven't looked around, there's a lot of things that are becoming internet connected. There's a lot of different assets, a lot of different data sources. But what we found and what we've come from in terms of backgrounds and working at startups that have grown, enterprises, as well as working on open source projects, is getting all this data to be meaningful and insightful is really difficult for organizations of all sizes, especially as compliance needs show up. What we've done is make it easy for organizations to connect, automate, and then monitor these assets in real time. The team for DataGovs comes from backgrounds where my founder, the co-founder, and I have both worked at large, big companies. Goma, who will talk a little about the technical piece, has built Costco's mobile and payment infrastructure on the iOS and Android. He's a former engineer at Comcast, Vizio, CS grad, and has had over 9 years of experience. I have come from Microsoft, where I led civic innovation work on cities for artificial intelligence and Internet of Things devices, as well as on cloud infrastructure. I'm also a JSK Stanford alum, and I've worked with 2 early data and cloud-based companies, which sold in 2016 and 2019. Today, DataGovs has partners like Esri, Microsoft, and more, who are partners of our service and software. And we work together to offer their customers who are also using DataGovs more utility on their infrastructure and platform tools. So let's get into why we started to start with Helium and why Miami. So around September, or I believe August, we're working with a client and a customer called City of Miami. And during this time, the City of Miami's CIO was just launching something called City Coins. For those that don't know City Coins is built on a protocol called Stacks, which is tied to Bitcoin, which if you're tracking Miami, the mayor is very excited about Bitcoin. But at the time, this was a utility that was raising money and it was cool as an alternative. But one of the things they approached to me was, hey, how can we get utility from this? And we were looking for utility in the crypto world, the blockchain world, and we were looking high and low. And running the Smart City program for City of Miami and IoT infrastructure, we get to meet a lot of vendors. And one community member reached out on Twitter and said, hey, we'd love to get Helium in Miami after seeing it in City of San Jose. And I reached out to them and they said, hey, happy to get together on a weekend and put some miners in some buildings if you know what places we can put it. And do you guys have sensors that we can put it with? And we connected and we kind of learned about the Helium infrastructure and ecosystem. And one of the things we realized is Helium is a really powerful tool for environmental monitoring. So today we set up a pilot where we ran about 2 and then now 10 air quality sensors that are LoRaWAN based in public buildings. And we realized that using Helium, we could help the city actually achieve some of its bigger goals towards being carbon neutral. And here I have some slides of what the city is planning to do with e-bikes and micromobility, but also something called Building Efficiency 305. Here they're trying to do energy benchmarking and kind of look at buildings and spaces and figure out how they can leverage the data that's being produced there through sensors to do some of their benchmarking. With Helium, we see cities like Miami as perfect places to activate Helium miners for people that are looking for spots to put their Helium miners, as well as helping them earn HNT while supplying the city with a new form of data. Today, we've done this digitization of physical operations through helping organizations put all their data and analytics and IoT in one place for small to medium-sized enterprises. And we're planning to scale this up. For Helium users, we're making it easy in our new protocol called Govs to use a mobile app to set up your miner, find the miner name, and then work with us so we can find spots for you to place them. During this pilot, we're letting anybody that's placing their miner up in a building get all of their HNT, meaning you get to keep everything that you're earned from. But we're also testing this model to see how do we scale this approach of getting Helium for organizations. Again, making it easier to connect, automate, and monitor your assets. Your assets in this case is your data and your miners. Today, we actually operate on a model that's usage-based. So similar to the way you pay for an electricity bill or a water bill, here at DataGovs, if you're leveraging our system and we're processing your data on any cloud, any infrastructure such as blockchain, we charge you based on data credits. 90 cents USD translates to 1 data credit. Our data credits is a little bit different than Helium, but there's also some parallels there. We think that data transfer model that Helium champions can become what we think a kind of norm in kind of like the data world. For us, this model helps us with making sure that we can process a bunch of data and work with fiat and crypto. But at scale, it also works as we work in multiple countries outside of the US and think about getting Helium adoption there. In Miami alone, there's about 2,134 hotspots. Last time we checked, about 479 of these hotspots were offline. We believe initiatives like this will get the community more tapped into being more civically engaged, as well as help cities get more data and ask for more data from residents. We envision a world where people that leverage our services can find curated sensors that they can put up in buildings and places in their homes and start to mine more Helium, but also have this option of saying the data from these sensors can be accessed by these third parties. Today, that could be cities. We also know bigger organizations, such as insurance companies, may want that. The reason we think that our approach is helping people claim their data is because today, if you own any one of these Internet of Things devices, such as a Google Home or Amazon Alexa, they're kind of collecting all this data on you, but you may not have access to all this data. In this approach, you get to decide what your data is being used for. You get to broker it to whoever you decide. Today, we're doing this through real-time asset monitoring of multiple sensors in buildings and scaling it up using different tools such as Google BigQuery. We're also leveraging 3D LiDAR sensor to make sure that we get 3D renderings of buildings. So you as a person or organization can decide best places to put these sensors. Here's a quick glimpse of what we did for the City of Miami's training room and what we're going to be doing for their headquarter building as we place sensors in that building and look for folks in the community that are looking to put up their miners in that building. And even for mobility. So we've worked with companies in the City of Miami that have shared mobility and have a bunch of different scooters everywhere, but you may not know where the scooters are. So in our app today, folks can see these assets in real time and even make complaints or safety notes. So we're not just helping leverage this network, but we're also thinking more about how this data can be really impactful to making your community a better place. Lastly, and I'm going to shift a little bit here, I'm going to give it to Goma if he has some, to let him demonstrate a little bit of what we've built in the app. We've built some Helium capabilities inside this app. This is a little later version of something that we've built. But Goma, do you want to talk a little about what we've built in the mobile app?
I'll let Arlene talk a little bit about the marketing side when I'm looking for the button to share the content.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. There's a little echo there. Greg, could you go to the next slide, please? Thank you very much. So hi guys, my name is Eileen Guerra. I'm here in Houston, Texas. I'm happy to meet you all online. I am the customer success specialist at DataGovs and part of the marketing and communications team. So at DataGovs, we really value your voice and your feedback. And as part of the marketing team, my goal is to always provide designs and ideas to improve not just the experience, but the usability of our products and our services. So we take our user feedback very seriously, right? So recently we had a couple innovations in our mobile app, right? And we're trying to test that out with you guys. So just for the people who are connected here on Uplink, we've made 200 spots available for you guys to test out the mobile app. So if you're interested in doing that, you can go ahead and check out the link that I'm sending here in the chat, or scan the QR code. If you are on the computer, you could just take out your phone and scan it. So you can fill out the form and we can give you guys access to test our app. And as always, we are on social media. Greg, if you could just, thank you. You can always connect with us. You can tweet us. We have a channel on Discord for Govs.io, which is our latest project. We're also on LinkedIn, and you can always chat with us whenever you have a question or a concern. We are always there connected and want to hear from you guys. So you are more than welcome to connect with us on our social networks. So that was my spiel.
Okay.
Goma, are you ready?
Yes.
Awesome. Let's go.
And Goma, before you go, just a quick distinction before you kick it off as you share your screen. So some people have asked and they hop into Discord, what's the difference between Govs and DataGovs? So DataGovs as an organization serves businesses, meaning we're tackling and working with large enterprises of all sizes. The reason we built Govs, which is our protocol, is to help you as miners and people in the crypto world be able to kind of own your data in Web3. So Govs is a governance protocol, and people that use our app don't have to go through an organization. Instead, they can use Govs as an organization to enter our application and participate in the data marketplace, similar to an organization, except in this case, it's your data and you're an individual. So just kind of giving that quick distinction before Goma gives his quick walkthrough of the application. Goma, you can take it from here.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the application that we built on iOS, and the Android version is under development. So when you launch the application, we're gonna explain to you what we are really doing in terms of work. So you can swipe different section here to see the work that we are doing and how it aligns with the partnership that we're doing with Helium, and also in terms of data. So when you go here, you get to the page, you will need to enter your organization. So in this case will be Govs. And from there, you can either choose login by email address, or you can just choose login by your Gmail. And I have to go to my Gmail and fix this because two-step authentication, which I recommend that you also do. I'll try to log in. In here. Okay, I'll just try to log in with my password. So once you log into the app, you will see that we have issues where people have submitted issues that affecting mobilities. So we used create issue for user to submit the issue. Let's say you see a bike that's down. So you pretty much can just use our app to submit the issue to the city. So you can take a picture, for instance. And once you take the picture, you can now choose which vehicle you want to submit the violation. You can choose electrical, for instance here, and you have all the violation type that you can choose. and all these providers that you can choose from. For this, I'll just choose Lime, and you put your agreement. Then you have a page to kind of go over your report before you submit it. And when you submit your report, start over, your report should, you should see your report here somewhere on the list. So instance, this is the one that I just submitted, and we have a report ID. So the ID of the report, let's say you were trying to follow up with the city with your report that you submitted, so you can provide the ID and you have more information about the report. And in addition, we have a map that shows you devices that are connected to our Gov connector, which is the Gov. So for instance, here we have in the city of Miami, you can see all the bikes that are complying to the city requirement of data sharing in here. And each bike has a detail, so you can choose one bike and get more information about the detail of the bike. So you can get the location, you can get the provider, and you can know that the bike is enabled. So let's say this bike becomes disabled in the next 15 minutes, we'll be able to fetch the data to see exactly lifetime that this bike has been disabled. And we have different bike providers here. This is Bolt, and this bike is also enabled as well. And we have added the Helium miner on the map. I'll zoom out. So we added Helium miner on the map here. We're not showing the whole data set. We're showing just a little bit of data set because we working on the feature where the user would just search for the hotspot instead of just swiping on the map. But this is an example of what we have. So I can just go to an island, and these are showing the Helium hotspot that are in in Georgetown. So in here, you will see. So we didn't want to give the exact location where the hotspot are because of the privacy. So we just pretty much put a region in which the hotspot is right here, and in there you can discover pretty much a asset of that you have. So this is the mobility asset that I have on my account. Also, these are the Helium miners that are signed up with our with Gov. So you can see all of them in here. And we are working on adding more information, detail that really matters to you in terms of your hotspot. And we added a marketplace as well, where you can buy courteous sensors that work directly with the Helium network. So we will be adding more in here, as well as working on some of the NFT. And that's all for the mobile app. I will stop sharing.
Yeah. Thank you, Goma. And I think, well, if you have anything, did you have anything else to share, Goma? Or is it?
No, that's pretty much all the work that we're doing on the mobile side. Great.
And to touch on what he just mentioned there, so as you can see, it's not just one type of asset. We want you to be able to go in there, claim your Helium miner, share that this is your wallet in place, but also be able to see the sensors and areas to put it. So again, it's treated like a marketplace. We also take security very seriously, so that's why we didn't put the location directly on that map. But in those 200 spots, if you click on the link that Eileen shared with you, you can be a part of this movement. There's benefits to it. For example, 300 of our early adopters are going to have a chance to get an NFT-based miner. We have a group called Helium Hotspot Art by a company called Cool Bros out in Switzerland who we're working with. And in that marketplace later this week, or I believe next week, don't quote me on that, we're going to be releasing a chance for those early adopters to get NFT-based miners. What does that mean? What this group does, they've taken the miner name and they've created into this cool art piece that you can even get shipped to you. And what we're planning to do with that is kind of give your identity of each miner and give you something that can grow in value separate to the miner itself, but a digital asset. And we think this is where the future of digital assets are going to go. This is just one small use case that we're sharing to our crowd and community. We think there's a lot of bridges that can be made there for utility NFTs and utility crypto. And what we're doing here at DataGovs is making it really simple for people to participate in this. So we don't want to get too into details of what machine learning is or data lakehouse is. Instead, we want to make sure that you can consume this and leverage this and make decisions on how you want your data to be used. So that's the kind of quick run of what we're working on with Helium and why we're excited about working with the network.
Awesome. Thank you, Greg. Okay. We've got some Q&A time here. If anyone in the audience has some questions, Greg, I have one question I got to know, man. What is, like, if you guys could work in one city, like anywhere in the world, what city would you want to work in and why? What city would you really want to work with? Do you have like a dream destination city you want to work with?
I think right now, it's not about dream city. It's just about, for us, like showing that we can solve the problem. So right now, for example, we mentioned city coins, but we see being able to step in those cities, like I think Austin, New York, that has city coins would be a great opportunity. Because right now, I think just being able to activate the network and show people that, hey, this is a different alternative, that'd be great. Cities that have traditionally issues with climate change and electrification and tracking EV vehicles and data transfer, we think those are really exciting to us because those present a new opportunity to showcase what would happen if everybody participates in sharing some of their data or deciding to broker their data. And we think that can be really powerful in some ways of tackling these issues of climate change. For example, in Miami, which we're already working in, we'd love to see it if people set up flood sensors or AC analytics sensors, and then we can get a bigger picture of what data is looking like in buildings or homes in residential areas. So to answer your question, cities like Austin we really love to work with, cities like NYC, but we'd also like to work with smaller cities, so small to mid-size. We don't want to kind of limit ourselves, but the beauty of the way we've been set up and the way we designed our app is you can tap into this really quickly. And because we're using the Helium's blockchain, which is really easy and the documentation is really clean, any city that comes to us that wants to work with us would be something we can set up in less than a couple of hours. So.
Gotcha. Great. I see someone here asked about cost of sensors. I did see that on the marketplace for a second there, but is that where they would go if they want to learn about like cost of sensors and things like that?
Yeah, so that's where they go to learn about cost of sensors. The two things that you saw there were sensors that we worked on with some local community groups. We're going to be having some more commercial sensors there. The cost and price will be there. We're working on some interesting things, such as like what happens if we have a wallet, it's fiat or crypto, and how could you use your HNT? So all of these things are on our mind. Right now, it's just about making sure that for folks, they can get their assets and we can give them kind of like accurate times and we can kind of deliver on these shorter goals. But our vision is to create a vetted place where you can go in. And if you have a Helium miner, you can also stop in and get a LoRaWAN sensor. So your Helium miner can start producing HNT, and that HNT produced as well as data can also be used for something else, such as brokering it on our marketplace. So these are some things that we're thinking about.
Awesome. I talked a little bit about some upcoming things with Helium itself in 2022. Are there any specific things that you guys are excited about that maybe you haven't talked about yet, with the Helium network that's going to benefit you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we have this really cool announcement that's going to be launched next week with a distributed ledger technology that has really just kind of separated itself from the mold in terms of like how other coins have they have energy efficiency issues or like scalability issues. So we're really excited about that because we see this as a layer. We're excited about it in some ways because as we've kind of grown, we've seen a lot of people like, oh, we can start our own Helium. But the way we see it in terms of like future and excitement is kind of like connecting the dots, right? It's like, okay, Lyft as a company could use Stripe and they could also use Twilio, and these tools and ingredients can just help that operation become a lot better. We see Helium in that same way. So I think for us, things that we have on our roadmap are really exciting are being able to connect the dots there and leverage data through Helium's network and through some of these use cases to come up with some really great outcomes and success stories using the people's network and working with enterprises and organizations. Gotcha.
Great. You listed some of like the DataGovs partners already. I think you had Microsoft and some other people on there. Are there like upcoming big announcements? Are there things that you guys have planned in the works for like major partners? Can you tease some of it if you can't necessarily talk about that right now, specifics?
Yeah, I mean, we're always growing. I mean, for the partners that you see on that list, I mean, there's going to be more. I can't talk about it yet since they're really big and they'll probably be bummed if we broke the news before they said. Yeah. But as a company, the people that we have as partners are also connectors. So for example, Microsoft or software vendor for that. So you can connect your Microsoft Azure. The way we can look at each of these things is, hey, a lot of organizations may have the resources to hire teams that can leverage these tools in the best ways, and some don't. Some may just want to be able to tap into these things and they don't care about a cloud data warehouse or how the blockchain works, or maybe they don't even care about how Helium works, but they benefit from the services that are used there. In the same way we may go and use Comcast daily and use the internet, but we just, we only care about it when it doesn't work. So for us, I think excitement in these partnerships is when people are using and leveraging services like Helium or like a Microsoft or like a Google Cloud. And we can just tell them, hey, did you know that this is powering your service? And they're just like, oh, we didn't know that. We just know it was cheap, it was effective, it was efficient, and it helped us solve our problem. So these are the things that we're kind of working with. But yeah, can't announce anything yet, but just keep looking at our website. Next week, we plan to release some news, and monthly, you'll start seeing some more connectors and partnership announcements roll out as we start working with bigger organizations.
Awesome. And you may have said this already and I totally missed it, but you guys are in Miami right now. Do people have to participate with like what you're doing? Do they have to live in the Miami area, or can they be from anywhere and work with you guys?
Yeah, so we have people from our network from anywhere from Switzerland to Germany. For the mobility work that we're doing, it's city focused. So unfortunately, if you want to like start putting in complaints, it's really city centric. For some of the sensor work that we're doing, it's also kind of limited to US, but we also kind of let the folks know that, hey, this is the places that we can kind of give you sensors. For Helium miners and setting it up, you can be anywhere and you can kind of connect it to our application. There's only some limitations depending on places. Like if you're out in Antarctica and you want to use Helium miners, it'll probably take a little longer for us to like ship you a sensor. But if you have your own sensor, we can definitely connect that to DataGovs and make sure that you're tracking that similar to console. But it would take some resources to make sure that we can give you the best spots and locations, since you'd have to work with some organizations in that area. So those are just some of the limitations that we have that some people have asked about. They're like, okay, we have 200 miners in our Discord and we're out in this different place. And we're like, that's cool. We can connect your miners and we can start getting some data there. But our expansion kind of is similar to the Lyfts and the Airbnbs. It's like, it's very focused based on city. And as we grow this network a lot more, there's going to be new opportunities where we can start providing better services in cities.
Yeah, great. Okay, so I don't see a ton of questions right now in the chat other than people like kind of wanting to follow up with you guys. So the best places to do that, I see Eileen posted the Discord channel, and then let me scroll up. Was there another contact for you guys in there? Is there an email or anything, or just go to the website?
Yeah, so if you go to team@datagovs.com, which Eileen has just dropped in it, so it's team. Go to the Discord if you're interested in being a part of the Govs protocol. If you're an organization and you want to figure out how to scale and leverage Helium miners, then datagovs.com is the best place. You can go and like see and get a trial of it, and kind of if you're interested in partnership, we have a link there. Again, we stress that organizations should go to DataGovs, and people interested in just setting up their miners should go to govs.io and go into the Discord and participate. This protocol is very new in some ways, and we have borrowed a lot of our infrastructural needs at DataGovs to make sure this has been set up in a secure, scalable way. But this is very much a beta for the Govs iOS app for a lot of the Helium stuff. So come in it knowing that. We do make a lot of releases. I mean, Goma was just here and he works very fast. He's very a top performer, and we have other engineers on the team, but this is an iterative process and we need your feedback to make it better. But as we get better, we're going to stay rooted in community and stay rooted in making sure that, like any typical Web3 service today, that you own your data and you kind of get more kind of authority of choosing how the data works for you.
Okay, awesome. I see a couple people have their hand raised. Just FYI, we can't unmute the audience in here. So if you guys have questions, please put them in the chat. In the meantime, if people are typing them in the chat, just some contact info if you want to talk a little bit more about Helium. You can find us, like I said, we're open source, so go to GitHub and contribute, check out what we're doing on there. Follow us on Twitter and Discord. We've over 100,000 members on Discord. You can shoot me an email at jacob@helium.com. Mark Phillips is our VP of BizDev, very knowledgeable resource, mark@helium.com. And I'll give it a minute or two in case people want to put some of those questions in the chat. But while we're waiting, Greg and team, thank you for being on here. Oh, it looks like there's a question showed up. All right, not a question, but someone is saying that the CTO of Shreveport, Louisiana was on Helium Hacks last night. Desperate to work with Helium, might be a good fit for you guys. So it might be someone to reach out to. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah, Robert, tell the CTO to reach out to us. I mean, we're a Helium partner, so we can get them started quickly. And I've had experience in working with cities and governments of all types. So we could probably move a lot quickly in understanding procurement. So yeah, tell them to reach out, and I will make a note, and I'm sure somebody on the team is going to make a note of reaching out. But yeah, this is the type of energy we want. We want people, we want to go to cities, and instead of mayors saying, hey, let's bring this coin, the people are like, let's bring Helium. That's a good place to be in. So we'll definitely follow up on that.
Yeah, I think someone just dropped his name in here. So you want to check that out, mark that down. Looks like I said, Discord's a great resource. So it looks like he hangs out in our Discord channel. Wait, there's his email right there. Look at that. Community comes through every time. We love it. Thank you guys. All right. It looks like we're coming up on time here. So again, DataGovs, Greg, Eileen, Goma, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. Anyone, again, want to follow up? This will be on YouTube probably in the next 24 hours or so. So you guys can rewatch the video. We can put any relevant links in there as well. All right. Greg, you guys, anything else you want to say before we sign off here?
Yeah, thank you all for listening and tuning in. Again, follow us at datagovs.com or govs.io. We're here to make data work for you, not the other way around. Keep following us, keep being a part of this movement, and we're a layer on top of what Helium has already built. And yeah, keep following us and keep being a part of the community. Look out for bigger expansion in the future and more utilities and tools that you can leverage on top of Helium as well as on top of our network. So thank you.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.